create this drama critic circle 50 years ago. A kid comes from Arkansas to go to USC Conservatory and falls in love with the musical theater more than anything else, including opera. And what happens in musical theater? It's been choirs of singing strings for 20 years, right? Not that they were not nice, they were great. All of a sudden, cabaret music, played and sung by virgins, and then rock and roll in the musical theater. And Man in La Mancha with orchestra, only guitars, and the Andrew Lloyd Webber pieces, and all of a sudden the musical theater doesn't look anything like it did. I'm not going to go into this, but at the same time, there's a giant revolution going on in American movies, and '69, when the first X-rated picture won the Oscar, is a huge year for that. Okay. The kid spends a year backing up the music and drama critic over at the Times, and the Examiner wants to make an entertainment editor, and he says, well, then I'm going to get to go over there and give the assignments, and I'll take all the fun writing assignments for myself. Exactly what happened. All right, in '69, the Amundsen and Taper are coming into their own. That's great. And the New York City establishes residents in Los Angeles every winter. That's great. Most amazing of all to me is the National Theatre of Great Britain, led by Laurence Olivier, comes and does a 2 months residency and says they're going to do it every year for a while. By the way, I asked Olivier and Maggie Smith and her husband why Los Angeles, and they said it's because Los Angeles is an important theater town. So that gets us going. Now, what's it like for a writer about theater at this time in Los Angeles? There are benefits that are almost unimaginable. Flights to San Francisco as often as you want to see the ACT. Annual trips to New York and London to report on the theater scene there. The best part of it all, though, for me, was all the theater people I got to spend time with, and some of them became lifelong friends. This is a few names. Playwrights Robert Bolt and Dale Wasserman. Actors James Earl Jones, Dustin Hoffman, Paul Newman, Robert Redford, Julie Andrews, Lee Grant, and those terrific Brits, Peter O'Toole, Maggie Smith, Laurence Olivier. All right, great. Glamorous. Exciting. Too much time on airplanes, but great. Only problem is I found out after a couple of years it's a really big mistake. And what I'm going to do here is try to describe these glory years some more, and the mistake, and what I hope this promises in the future for all of us. My pickle was that I'm going like this stuff on a big whirlwind, daylight to dusk, 7 days a week. I want to write books, but guess what? Too busy and too scared. Here I am in the midst of marvelous people who spend their days in a big river of creativity, and what am I doing? Observing. No. All right, pain got really big, wanted to join them, set a time limit. I spent 3 years learning to do this. I'm going to spend 2 more years saying it as beautifully as I can. I hope people listen, and then I'm going to quit. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to go freelance, no salary, no expense account, no benefits, naked, and stand in the unemployment line. Anybody here know about that? Okay. Take a look. In this river of creativity in front of you, your kind of people are playing in the water. A lot of the ones I just named. Who's having the fun here? Not me. You guys are. So, the end. I will quit. I set a deadline, 2 years. Well, it could have been very difficult, but the universe has its ways. I'm at a party in in Beverly Hills, trading stories with Dale Wasserman one night, and a stranger standing there listening to us. I don't know who he is. And later he says, I'm a publisher. Will you have lunch with me tomorrow? Yeah. And we get there and he says, I'll give you a modest advance. Tell those stories that you were telling last night in a book. Oh my, it was really tough. I resigned the next day. My family and my friends would ache. Anybody surprised at that? Okay, your security will be gone. They're going to set out to row the Pacific Ocean or rubber raft. You're nuts. You want to be Mr. Nobody? No, I want to jump in the river and play with my kind of people. Okay, but next, I'm going to lead us forward a quick 50 years. So, why is this nutcase standing in front of you tonight grinning? Well, I'll tell you. We're 50 years later, and 50 books later. Along the way, this is what's happened. I've been up, I've been down, I've been left, I've been right, I've been broke, I've been flush, I've been all around the town. Anybody know this story? I've been on the Times list and off of everybody's list. I've been recognized and wrecked, and I've had every kiss and life, and every kiss and kick that life offers. Okay, I'm getting to you. What about you? Anybody out there got a play hiding in some corner of his head? Or hope he has? All right? Any actor out there longing for roles more ambitious that you've been getting any director wanting to take bigger chances? All right, well, here's what I got to say to you. Come on in. The water's fine. You come in and we'll all play. Okay, I'm going to anticipate. That's what I meant by picturing the future I hope is here for all of us. I anticipate what I think you're thinking. Does Wynn have a wonderful wife who supports this madness of risk-taking? Answer, wonderful, yes. She's on board with the risk. She writes books for a living too. So, that's life as a guy who writes about theater in LA in the late 60s and 70s. Thanks. Come celebrate with us in the river.
And why do I feel like if you got a drink into him, he would have some quality dish? How about a big hand for our musical director, Chris Ray? I should probably admit when I walk in, I said, I don't want to know. I'm not the stage manager, it's not my problem. Now when I walked up behind him and I said, "Hello, young Matthew," and he says, "My name's Chris," and I said, "I'm old." Many memorable musicals, or tuners, as Variety used to call them, had their genesis right here in Southern California. And the Circle asked Chris to take some time to remember some of the notable homegrown hits from the last 50 years. To help him, he's assembled a most delectable trio of amazing talent. We've been hanging backstage. We're like this now. So please help me welcome the wonderful Kristen Towers Rolls, Zachary Ford, and LADCC Award winner Constance Jewel Lopez. Just delightful. Now, our next LADCC presenter is Lovell Estelle III of Stage Raw.
Good evening, all. The Polly Warfield Award, given to a smaller mid-sized theater that has had an excellent season, is named for a real enthusiast. This award is sponsored by the Nederlander organization, Hollywood Pantages Theater, and is accompanied by an honorarium. When Polly Warfield began at the Gardena Valley News, her column was called The Passionate Playgoer, and she brought that passion to numerous publications, including Drama and Backstage, for the better part of 40 years. Her 2003 obituary in the LA Times, written by current LADCC member Don Shirley, featured the headline, "Critic known for her upbeat theater reviews." And Don quoted South Coast Rep co-founder David Ems for clarification. Not that she was a pushover, Ems said, but she always came in with a glass half full attitude and an undying faith in artists. You can read an appreciation of this year's recipient in our program. I think Polly would be very pleased that in this anniversary year, the award in her name is going to a company whose glass was pretty much full all year long. The Echo Theater Company.
Chris Fields, I'm the artistic director of the Echo Theater Company. Lavelle gave us our first review in 1997. He gave us our first critics, but it was the pick from the weekly for a play by Herm Farrell called Bedfellows. Anyway, I'm the artistic director. This is Alana Dietz, our associate artistic director and literary manager. And this is Rachel Zambias, the producing director of the Echo.
Thank you to the LADCC for this tremendous honor. Our 2018 season included a finalist for the Pulitzer, an Ovation winner for Best Production in an Intimate Theater, and Best Playwriting, a ghost story that we ran in rep over the course of the season with 2 different directors and 3 different casts, and a play that our artistic director had wanted to produce since he acted in it at the O'Neill Conference in 1994. We told stories about childhood abuse, about gun violence, about the appropriation of tragedy for personal gain, about the joy and heartbreak of new motherhood, about faith and loss of faith. None of this would have been possible without the tremendous support of the members of the Echo and the incredible artists whose work came to our stage. With that in mind, I have to say some names. Thank you to Christopher Fields, Yusuf Torapoff, Timothy Wright, Circle X Theater Company, Cricket Myers, Rose Malone, Amanda Kanians, Diane Greibner, Venice Yang, Alan Lucky Weaver, Kevin Johnson, Nancy Ma, Jeff Allen Lee, Jesse Bush, Bob Clendenin, Ann Jewel Lee Dixon, Renisha McCorkle, Paul Eiding, Matt Gallenstein, John Getz, Caleb King, Tracy Lee, Allison Martin, Saguta Miller, Jennifer Skinner, Michael Sturgis, and Bill Salyers.
And we also thank Daniel Talbot, Ian Bamberg, Kenzie Kaplan, Mara Klein, Joey Stromberg, Libby Woodbridge, Randall Clute, Ellen Neary, Chris Stack, Lavelle Holder. Thank you, Brandon Jacobs-Jenkins. Azra King Abadi, Chris Moschiatello, Ahmed Best, Chris Kamuro, Kevin Johnson, Nick Barnes, Lindsay Graves Fisher, Anthony DiGregorio, Alexa Volanovic, Lucy Pollack, Alana Dietz, Jessica Goldapple, Jenny Sue, Stephen Strabel, Devere Rogers, Courtney Knowles, Esty DeMerchant, and Rachel Zambias.
Thank you. you to Molly Smith-Metzler, Lindsay Alba, Clarissa Thibault, Francois Pierre-Couture, Jeff Gardner, Ann Kloss Farley, Megan Tesh, Jackie Chung, Brian Henderson, Emily Swallow, and Nicole DePort. And thank you so much to the Los Angeles theater community who supported the work. We're deeply grateful.
This year's nominees for set design: Tom Birch, The Pirates of Penzance, Pasadena Playhouse. Stephen Gifford, Cabaret, Celebration Theater. John Iacovelli, The Little Foxes. Stephanie Curley Schwartz, A Raisin in the Sun, A Noise Within. And, wouldn't you know, we have 2 recipients in this category. Our first recipient is Stephen Guilford.
I think the last time that I won an award here was a Lifetime Achievement Award, and that was like 8 years ago. So, they may have forgotten about me since then. I'd actually like to thank most of all Michael Matthews, of course. He's kind of, I don't know, he's the guy that I really like to work with quite a bit. This show, actually, we spent about a year and a half actually working on because of circumstances that were out of our control. But it was great to actually, it's great to actually get to be able to work on these smaller shows. Our theater is 47 seats. And I spent about 3 weeks and 8 hours a day every day in there. So, but to create a space that actually puts the audience in the show as opposed to actually just sitting back and seeing a show from afar, really. I'd like to thank Janet Roston, Anthony, our producers, Jay and Michael O'Hara, Michael Crick-Falusi, Michael Shepard, Esty, Matthew, who did the lights, Cricket, who did the sound, Michael Mullins, who did costumes, Brian Batista, who did hair and tattoos for our show. We had a really great cast, and last of all, I'd like to thank my Michael. So, thank you.
John Iacovelli.
Well, I love being in this room where I had designed 28 plays in 25 years, but also, those of you that remember the Dramalog Awards, there was always a fun time here. I have to say that I did one of the very first NTS shows of Mice and Men when they first started, and I had done several shows through them, but when Cameron called me, Cameron Watson, the director, to do Little Foxes, I just knew how to do it in that space, and it wasn't easy. But Cameron, thank you so much, and I want to thank the great artistic staff there, Kitty, Bill, and Rob, and also David Seart, who did the props. But it was really a joy to work on that production, and if you know Cameron was in his wheelhouse as well, so it was really a joy. Thank you very much. This is great, because that was a labor of love. Thank you very much.
Nominees are Allison Diller, Bliss, Only Horses Dead, Moving Arts, at Atwater Village Theater. Allison Diller, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Celebration Theater. Terry A. Lewis, The Little Foxes. David K. Mickelson, Cabaret, La Mirada Theater. And we have 1 recipient, but 2 plaques for Allison Dillon.
Ooh, okay. Oh, cool. Thank you. This really means a lot. These 2 shows were both a ton of work, and I made almost all the costumes for both of them, and I was really proud of them. I tend to work alone. I think most designers do, but I tend to work alone, and think I'm alone in this all the time. And I've learned a lot in the last 2 years, or this year, especially because of Priscilla, which was a bus that almost ran me over, but didn't. I learned a lot, and I learned probably a little late in the game that I am not alone, and that I have this wonderful, wonderful tribe of human beings that keep me going and tell me nice things when they see me and buy me drinks and things like that. So tonight I want to thank those people, because I really, really couldn't do this without all of those people, and I appreciate all of them. And there's a ton of them, and they're all my theater family. But most importantly, the people at Celebration Theater for always letting me do weird things. Moving arts was a fabulous experience. I especially want to thank Michael O'Hara at Celebration Theater. And Esty, because she's awesome. And Sinclair and Deb for being here with me tonight and supporting me forever. All of the people that surround me in my career and keep me going through all of the weird things I do, and telling me I can do the things that I'm not quite sure I can do. Just thank you. It really, really means a lot, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Year's nominees for specialty run a gamut of theatrical expression and artifice, and this year's crop is no exception. We are proud to nominate the following: Clip Flowers for the wigs and makeup featured in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Dead, presented by Noise Within. Thomas Isao Morinaka and Aaron Aoki for the fight choreography in Vietnam. Dane Oliver for the fight choreography of Haiti, as seen at Will Gear's Theatrical Velocity. Jim Steinmeier for the illusion, stagecraft, and magic carpet scene in Aladdin, presented at the Hollywood Cafe Theater. And we have two recipients in this category. Our first recipient is Thomas Isao.
This award today, because no one ever talks about combat in a play, let alone give out an award for it. So, as such, we're extremely grateful to the LADCC for this recognition. Thank you so very much. We'd also like to thank everyone who's affiliated with this production, without whom the fight would not be as awesome as it was. And all the pieces had to come together just so, lighting, design, and everything, and these are the people who made it happen. Aaron. Pick it up right there, please.
Caitlin and Jason, who did our scenic design and projections, obviously did a wonderful job, and were recognized earlier tonight. Tom, who did our lighting design, John on sound, and Shamidi, who composed the soundtrack for the play. We have Joanna on props, Stephanie on costumes, our stage managers, Jade and Edward, Christina. Sarah K. Peters, who taught the capoeira move that opens the fight, so that we teach it to Paul. And so special thanks to the cast, Sylvia, Paul, Scott, Jane, and Albert, for working super hard on it. They were really dedicated. And we had, of course, the writer, Kui, for writing the play that allows a fight like the one we choreographed. And of course, our director, Jen Chang, who told us that she wanted a 5-minute fight and then just gave us the creative freedom to basically do what we wanted. So Snehal and everyone else over at East West Players for putting on the show in the first place, thank you so much.
And I just want to say a very special thank you to my mother, who funded my education and didn't give me too much of the business when I said I was going to get a degree in theater with a special emphasis in stage comp.
Our second recipient is Jim Steinmeier for Illusion Stagecraft and the Magic Carpet Aladdin Hollywood Pantages Theater.
Thank you to the LADCC and to everyone that voted. And thanks to the folks at Disney Theatrical, Tom and Ann, to our director Casey Nicola, to the folks at Tate for starting with something really, really technical and turning it into something magical. And thanks to my wife who's here this evening as well, and who accompanied me and who puts up with all of this foolishness in our theater group. And let me also say, pursuant to the other recipients here tonight, thank you very much to the LADCC for this award. This is the second time I've been nominated in this category. It's a very unusual category. It recognizes that sometimes the theatrical world needs something a little unexpected, a little different. It's always an eclectic group of people that are nominated in this award. It's an honor to be included with them. And I thank you all very much for thinking of that and for keeping that door open to all of us.
I would like to take a moment to honor all of the members of the Los Angeles Drama Critics Circle who are here this evening. Some have traveled a long way to be here. I know of at least one from the West Side. And all have contributed mightily to the success of the group. So if I could ask for the house lights up for a moment, and for every circle member to stand up, past and present. And if you're sitting on the table, please make it stand up. Thank you. Thank you. Don't applaud anymore, they'll all want to become actors. I'm now pleased to hand over the evening to our next critic presenter, Deborah Klugman, who writes for Stage Raw and Capital and Maine.
Schmidt was not a critic. He was a producer, and a beloved and integral one at that. Throughout his career, he supported new local playwrights and served as a pillar for our theater community. His death at age 50 in 1990, at the height of the AIDS epidemic, was a tragic loss for the many who loved him. Ever since, the LADCC has commemorated his life and legacy by attaching his name to our award for the most distinguished original play to premiere locally. This award is sponsored by an anonymous donor and is accompanied by an honorarium. The recipient of this year's Schmidt Award, Lauren Yee, will not be here tonight, but she has designated Peter Hewitt and Rita Hahn to accept it on her behalf for her wonderful drama with music produced by South Coast Repertory, Cambodian Rock.
Hello everyone, Jamil Sul, as you say, our names are Peter Hood and Rithi Han, and as members of Cambodian Town Film Festival and Khmer Alumni Association, it is an extreme honor to be asked by Lauren Yee to accept this award on her behalf tonight.
Hello everybody, my name is Rithi and Jamil Sul. So as a second generation Cambodian, this play holds a very special place in our heart. It recalls a time in Cambodia gone past that most of our parent generation would like to forget. But this story shines a light on the loud silence that has plagued our community for so long. But it does so with heart, humor, music, and so much love. Needless to say, we are a big fan of this compelling inspiration play, which feels like a gift that Lauren gave all genocide survivors and their children. She thanked you for acknowledging this work, and we thank you. Awkward.
Nominees for writing adaptation: Sean Graney, The Pirates of Penzance, Pasadena Playhouse; Patrick Marber, 3 Days in the Country, and his theater company. And the recipient is Patrick Marber, 3 Days in the Country.
I'm Nikki Dukas. I was one of the actors in this extraordinary adaptation of a classic play called A Month in the Country, retitled 3 Days in the Country, appropriately so, because it was quite a bit shorter. Patrick Marber is, I think this play is probably one of the most perfect plays ever written. I wish that everyone in this audience could have participated. We were lucky enough to have him here with us, and the same humanity and joy and love and wit and crazy human behavior that he brought to this play, he shared with us as a human being. And I know he would be thrilled to win this because he was so happy to be in LA with us. So thank you very much.
There are 5 nominees for writing, each an original play in its first Southern California production. Inda Craig Galvan for I Go Somewhere Else. That was the winner at Atwater Village Theater. Bernardo Cubria for The Giant Void in My Soul, Ammunition Theater Company of the People. Brandon Jacobs Jenkins for Gloria, Echo Theater. Sarah Jones for Sell by Date, Geffen Playhouse, Los Angeles LGBT Center. Molly Smith Metzler for Cry It Out, Echo Theater Company. We have 2 recipients in this category. Our first recipient is Sarah Jones, Sell by Date, Geffen Playhouse in the Los Angeles. The recipient is Molly Smith Metzler.
Well, hi. Thank you so much, LADCC, for this incredible honor. I feel like I should mention that I'm fairly new to Los Angeles. I moved here in 2016, and I just feel so welcomed by this wonderful community that we have. And thank you so much for that. It's been the best surprise of Los Angeles, just what a wonderful community we all have here. And I also want to thank you for recognizing the incredible work of Echo Theater Company. I think they thanked everyone I could possibly thank, but I'll thank them. Chris Fields and Rachel Zambias, thank you for this beautiful production of Cry It Out. Thank you especially for sending the script to Lindsay Alba, who had a 2-month-old baby and took the time to read the script and decide she had to do it. And she's why the play looked the way it was, and it's just a wonderful experience. I want to thank the cast, of course, and the design team, which Chris already mentioned, but I guess all that's left to say is our wonderful publicist, Lucy Pollack, who made sure you all came. And I want to thank the moms that shared their stories with me, that I stole and put on stage. But really, this is such a great honor, and I share it with all moms and dads everywhere who are in the trenches, feeling like they're alone. They're not. I'm so glad that we have a play that says so. All right, thank you.
I decided to come in from the kitchen for once. So a lot of award recipients back there, you should check it out. It occurs to me that after 3 years away from LA, that I am one man who may need an introduction. So I'm Bob Verini, and for many years I reviewed plays here for Variety and Arts in LA and Stage Raw, and I'll take 8 by 10 of that. And now I'm based in Boston and reviewing for Variety and New York Stage Review, but I could not miss this opportunity to be back with the circle I had so much fun with, and with this LA community that has brought me so much, and I hope I gave even a little bit back. How about that medley at the start of that? When we were discussing it, Chris and I said I certainly hoped that he would include a song from my absolute favorite musical that premiered in LA, which I know is a favorite of many of yours, The Drowsy Chaperone. You may have recalled that there was no Drowsy Chaperone number in the medley. And the reason was that some of our more punctilious members, and if you want to see punctilious members get to know the circle, pointed out that The Drowsy Chaperone, while its first, notable production was in LA, it actually had premiered in Canada. Canada, home of the hits. So, it was ineligible for the medley. But since I traditionally get a little spot at this point, I thought I could, with apologies, give a little shout out to The Drowsy Chaperone, while passing along something of what I've learned in my 2 decades or more of looking at LA theater and seeing LA theater, how to get a show put on. So, picture this. You are traveling down to the Taper for the newest show, and you're sitting on the train. Yes, the train. And you eavesdrop, and this guy says, there's this beautiful new theater space for rent, and it's in the heart of the LA theatrical hub, Encino. Get an idea, think it through, have a dream, maybe you can produce a Splendido. Encino, surprise, plot it out, write it down, shop it all over town. All producers say, no. Encino, surprise, no one else produce, so you'll self-produce. Where to get the juice from your kid's college fund? Screw it. Higher ed, he don't need, he wants you to succeed. Proud to back your Divino. Encino, surprise. So you have a play, you have a space, you have the money, and your kid's off to trade school. Next, you need a director, a visionary, who will bring your work to the stage. This is not as easy as it sounds. This one wants too much cash, he's a jerk, she's too brash, you'll direct it in vitro. Encino, surprise. So you have it directed before. How hard could it be? And you're the one person in town who can't be fired. Okay, so now it's time to work on the script. Now this part of the process goes by many names. You tell your spouse it's a series of developmental readings. Your spouse calls it freeloaders eating in our living room. You tell the actors you're getting in on the ground floor. The actors tell each other we're giving him free help and he's not going to use us anyway. And you know what? Everybody is correct. Especially the actors. I mean, you paid them in pastrami. And you're not going to give up the biggest power trip in this whole deal, which is, of course, casting. Run your casting call like a cattle call. Once you've cast it all and they want to get paid, don't let them. Salaries, what a bore. If the thought you are born, use some inmates from Chino. Encino, surprise. Now, it's time to go into rehearsal. dance break. I learned this step from my first junior high musical, The Boyfriend. I understudied the male lead, but the wrong guy broke a leg. Fosse furred in my ass. Anyway, end of dance break, end of rehearsal. It's time to bring your work to a waiting public. First your best friends come, then your family come, then the critics come, and they tell you it stinks. You're closing, acting weak, writing sad. Every review says it's bad. Drown your sorrows in vino and see no surprise. But wait a minute, what was so bad? So you put on a show that a lot of people, maybe some people, maybe everybody didn't like. So what? So what? Is there anybody in this room who has never had a flop? Don't even think of raising your hand, Chris. I've seen everything you've done. Of course we haven't. I mean, you know, Ned McNamara, Chris Fields, John Flynn, Ren Brown, Michael Ritchie. We've all had stuff that was disappointing. Hell, I directed a big musical for my MFA thesis show, and it sucked. I didn't think so at the time. I would never have said it, but I can look back on it and say it sucked. But you know what? It didn't cause cancer. It's only a play. And I say, bravo and God bless all of you who keep on keeping on. Count to 10. Screw the press. Try again. Without you there would be no. And see no surprise. Make the next one dirty. Surprise. Keep your actors naked. Surprise. The critic's gonna love it. That's the means to end. See no surprise. Thank you so much, and thank you, Chris. Okay. Mic drop. Okay. Here's what I do. Sustained excellence. That's the one and only criterion for receiving the LADCC's Margaret Harford Award. And the bylaws say this can only be awarded once, and once only, to a producing organization or individual. This makes it, you might say, first among equals in terms of LADCC special awards. Researching the career of the critic for whom this award is named, it becomes pretty clear that excellence was her hallmark as well. Her LA Times colleague, Dan Sullivan, said at her passing, quote, "She had been a newspaper gal all her working life, meaning that she was not invariably impressed with every one of the types she had to write about, but would try with a sigh to do them justice in the paper. The justice she meted out in her theater reviews was equally responsible. She could say yes without gushing and no without gloating, and in neither case would she go beyond the evidence. She was a pro." Margaret Harford's excellence wasn't sustained long enough. She died much too soon, at the age of 51. But as a pro, she would surely appreciate the professionalism and sustained excellence of every one of those who have received this honor. And this year, the award, sponsored by the LADCC itself and accompanied by an honorarium, is a very deserving recipient indeed, Sacred Fools Theater Company.
Good evening. My name is Bruno Oliver. I am a longtime Sacred Fools member and the current board president. I also handle the props for the theater, which tells you everything you need to know about 99 Cent Theater. So, sustained excellence is an odd term. To me, it brings to mind the meticulous perfection of like a Japanese tea service. or the perfect bowed note that Yo-Yo Ma might send off a cello into the world. I'll let you in a little secret, that's not really how we look at ourselves in Sacred Fools, to be entirely honest. From our point of view, it feels a lot more like managed bedlam, or tethered chaos, or the seemingly even more impossible to sustain artistic democracy. It's always been a bit difficult to describe exactly what kind of theater company Sacred Fools actually is. Believe me. Find me after the show and I'll tell you about our very first review. It's not for all audiences. What kind of plays we do is confusing sometimes. And how the heck do we sustain doing the kind of thing that it is we do, year after year? And we struggle with that question ourselves quite a bit. But there are two things that we do know about ourselves. First is that we have been very, very lucky. We have been very lucky in the timing of our creation. At a moment in the mid-90s, when there was a swell of theater nerds moving here from Seattle, New York, Chicago, and beyond, and we had all heard the same tired old self-fulfilling prophecy that if you move to LA, it's nothing but showcase crap. You have to say goodbye to all your real theater. Now, thankfully, we looked around the landscape, and enough of us said, what the hell are you talking about? There were wonderful theaters to lead us by example, and then we created theaters like Sacred Fools, like Echo, like Circle X, all created within a year of each other. And then there was a growing wave of adventurous other companies that followed suit, and that kind of really created a movement that crashed on the shores of LA theater around 2000, 2001. It was a pretty amazing time. And we've been very lucky in our associations with other LA theaters. Sometimes it was just a fruitful commingling with theaters such as Zoo District back in the day. Or more recently with Loft Ensemble and 2 Cent Theater Company. And occasionally those led to wonderful co-productions, as with Theater Movement Bazaar, and Theater of Note, and Burglar's Camp. And we've also been lucky enough to see some of our shows that we created on the Sacred Fools stage move to larger theaters, such as the Geffen and this very space right here. Now, we've been lucky enough in having good, solid homes that we were able to stay in for a long time. That's a pretty unusual thing, quite frankly, for small theaters in LA. We had 19 really nice years in the Heliotrope Theater, where we got to watch the Hell Mel neighborhood kind of grow up around us. And when it was time to move from there, we had the amazing, beyond luck and good fortune, to be able to take over the former Elephant Asylum Lillian space on Hollywood Theater Row, which is now called the Broadwater. And our new home has put us in a place, literally and figuratively, where we really can truly serve the LA theater community, the theater world. And on some fronts, it allows us to step up and take leadership as well. Now, we hope that any and all theater companies who perform in one of the Broadwater stages, or even just anybody who stops by and has a drink at the Broadwater Plunge, will think of themselves as part of our larger, extended Foolish community. And that leads to the second thing we know. We only know two things. So cribbing from our founding fool, John Sylvain, we create a community that creates art that creates a community. And at Sacred Fools, we're powered by the energy of the volunteer community that is our membership, the volunteer community that is our membership. Now, the three of us who are up here are only representatives of that Foolish community, which has had hundreds of members over the years. It's their heart, their sweat, their talents that keeps the doors open and ultimately drives the artistic direction of Sacred Fools. And part of that direction has always been to serve not only our membership, but also the greater theater community with opportunity. To that end, we've tried to embrace not only quality, but also, frankly and unabashedly, quantity. Just a couple of numbers I want to throw at you. On the Sacred Fools stage, we've produced 115 main stage productions, 100 plus ongoing programming, off-night productions or special events, hundreds of original songs, dances, thrances, at least one pie fight. And as far as writers, directors, and actors, in just Serial Killers alone, Serial Killers is our late night Saturday show, there have been 292 writers, 232 directors, 1,351 actors. There have been about 800 different actors in the main stage shows, and then you add in Fast and Loose and 10 Tops, and the math just became too complicated and I gave up. I have no idea how many performers have actually been on our stage. And that's where we are. But even though we can't win this award again, we're going to keep moving forward.
Hi, I'm Aviva Pressman. I'm one of the artistic directors at Sacred Fools, along with Scott Leggett and Adriana Isabel Colon. I've always always said that I don't love every show we do at Fools, but I love that we do them. Because even when we fall flat on our face, we do it in a way that can only happen when we've taken a really big, weird leap. And that's the kind of thing that only happens in small theater. We're proud of being foolish. It's what we do best. Now, moving forward, what we haven't always done best, and this time when I say we, I mean Sacred Fools, but I also mean American theater, has sometimes been diversity and inclusion. And we've taken some really big steps towards that in the last couple of years, but tonight we want to announce our next one, which is that we're committing to the Jubilee year for the 2020 to 2021 season. For those of you who don't know what that is, the Howl Round announced a challenge to American theater companies, and that is that for 1 year, you produce a season where everything is exclusively written and directed by women, people of color, LGBTQ artists, artists with disabilities, or looking at your theater company, anyone who you have dramatically underserved in your history. So we are committing to that, and that is something that we're announcing to you tonight publicly. Thank you. That some of you will go to jointhejubilee.org and make the same commitment yourselves. Shout out to the people who have already done it: Latino Theater Company, Native Voices at the Autry, Chalk Repertory, Deaf West, Teatro Luna, and Watts Village. They've been doing this work longer than us. Go see their shows. It's so important. So we're honored to get this award, and we hope that we are moving forward in a way that honors the community in return. I'm going to turn it over to Pedrick.
Really quickly, I wanted to give a quick shout out to a couple of our angels. I'm Pedrick Duffy, Managing Director. I wanted to give a shout out to, and these are just a few of many angels who have helped us. City Councilman Mitchell Farrell, who has been a champion of theater, champion of our theater company, champion of Hollywood Theater Row. The grant organizations that help us with our education and our outreach, which has been growing exponentially every year, which is LACAC or the DCA or the California Art Council. And then finally, I just wanted to give a shout out to someone, a member of our company who's been tireless, who's been talented, who's been kind, who has been a rock, that has been one of the main reasons why we have sustained excellence over the years. She also happens to be the stage manager of the show tonight. Our production manager, Heather Lynn Gonzalez. So, thank you so much for this award. Thank you to the LADCC, and we will see you at the bar.
I was speaking of Dan Sullivan, a founding LADCC member who could not make it tonight. And unfortunately, his contribution to our collection of memories in the program didn't get to us in time for printing. But I'd like to share it with you now. It's short, it's funny, you'll like it. Dan Sullivan writes, "When I jumped ship for the LA Times in the 60s, a New York Times pal said, 'Los Angeles, they got theater out there?' Nobody would ask that today. Once a road town, today's LA has become what a travel agent would call a destination city, a place with its own theatrical history, neighborhoods, legends, accents, costumes, and weird tales. What a great story to cover, and I had a front row seat at the Taper, at the LA Theater Center, at South Coast Repertory, at all those ratty little theaters on Melrose, at the acting troupes that went on to glory, the Company Theater, the Actors Gang, and the high-minded ones that couldn't quite make it work, the Inner City Cultural Center. It's all a blur now, but I've got a closet full of scrapbooks that prove it happened, and still does, no question." Dan, we miss you. Now, I get to give out a couple of awards, which I love. There are 5 nominees for Ensemble Performance. Come From Away, Center Theater Group, Amundsen Theater. Cult of Love, IAMA Theater Company. Schoolgirls, or the African Mean Girls plays, and the theater group for Douglas Theater. The Little Foxes, Antia's theater group. And Viet Gone, East-West Players. There are 2 recipient ensembles. And our first recipient is Come From Away, Send a Theater Group, Honors and Theater.
Thank you on behalf of the Come From Away Theater Company.
Our second recipient in the category of ensemble performance is The Little Foxes.
Steakhouse group on, you guys. That's not true. Hi. Some of the ensemble is here. Does someone want to talk about this? I just want to thank Cameron Watson. You heard from him tonight. I've drunk the Kool-Aid fully. I drank it watching him in the audiences, and now I've drunk it working with him as an actor. If you have a chance to work with him, take it. He put together one of the most extraordinary ensembles I've had the privilege of working with. Some of them are here with me tonight. The others who are not are working. Thank you for this award. Thank you to the LADCC. And thank you to Cameron in particular.
Directed by Cameron Watson. Okay, here are the 7 worthy nominees for featured performance. And they are J.D. Cullum in The Hot House, Antia's Theater. John Perrin Flynn in 100 Aprons. Sarah Hollis in A Raisin in the Sun. Wesley Mann in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern again. Rob Nagel in The Little Foxes. Felix Solis in Cost of Living. And Daisuke Tsuji in Cambodian Rock Band. There are 2 recipients in this category. And our first recipient is my buddy, Rob Nagel.
Thank you to the LADCC. This means a great deal. After living here for 22 years and working in the theater here for 22 years, New York and Chicago before that, it means a great deal to have a plaque like this, so thank you. I'd like to also thank Lillian Hellman. Even though she was probably a salty bitch, she really knew how to write. So thank you, Lillian. And I'd like to thank personally Cameron Watson, who was able to gently coax, without knowing you're being coaxed, someone into a role that he didn't think had anything to it. How often we're wrong. We need to listen to our friends and our colleagues. To be able to play Oscar Hubbard, I wouldn't be here without Cameron, so thank you for that. Cameron's getting a lot of love tonight. It's mostly because his shows direct themselves. If you'll note, he's gotten a lot of wins for productions, but he's rarely acknowledged as a director. And to his credit, he says, you know, it's good. That means that they don't see the work I've done. The story's being told. So, to you. Anyone involved in the Little Foxes, that includes the artistic team at Antia's, Lucy Pollock, please stand at this moment. Some of them are downstairs, taking a picture without me. I would not be here without you, so thank you. Thank you, Lucy.
before they play me off, because they do that here, I want to thank you, Sandra. I want to thank my partner in crime, Heather, who is the greatest theater widow I could ever have been blessed with. Your beauty is only surpassed by your brilliant mind. Thank you for being with me. And we have to find a place for this. I don't care what you say. Thank you.
Recipient in the category is Daisuke.
Speak now. Oh, thank you so much, LADCC, for this honor. I am grateful just to be working, y'all. But it's such a joy to be a part of this funny, moving, and important play. So I want to thank Lauren Yee, first, not only for writing this brilliant and beautiful play, but for creating this complex world that is both fun, terrifying, and also Asian, which really helped me. I'd like to thank everyone at South Coast Rep and the Pacific Playwrights Festival for commissioning and fostering Cambodian Rock Band and so many great new works. Thank you to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival for helping us continue our journey. We're playing there now. Come see us. I'd like to thank Che Yu for his ferociously sharp direction. Thank you to all the amazing designers for bringing Cambodia alive on the stage. Thank you to our crew and the stage management team for their hard and diligent work. But yeah, Siklos, the best rock band in Cambodia. My bandmates, Jane Louis, Brooke Ishibashi, Abraham Kim, Raymond Lee, Moses Villarama. I love you buttholes so much. That's an inside thing. And a special thank you to Joe No, our leader, and his family, because without them we wouldn't have this play. And lastly, I cannot accept this award without honoring the victims and survivors of Cambodian genocide. We tell this story so that the tragic events of the past will not be repeated, and I am honored to have this responsibility and privilege to tell this story, a story that is, despite its tragic setting, full of hope and the enduring power of music and love. Thank you.
And I wrote this. And now, please welcome LADCC member Jenny Lauer Beckman, who writes for Stage Raw. Jenny Lauer Beckman.
One LADCC Special Award is not named for a critic. Instead, it takes its name from one of the foremost artists and entrepreneurs this town has ever known. Gordon Davidson earned the deepest respect from those of us who have written about the work of Center Theater Group, respect that is surely shared by everyone in this theater tonight. This award is sponsored by Center Theater Group and is accompanied by an honorarium. I'd like to introduce Gordon's wife, Judy Davidson, who's joining us tonight to co-present this award.
Thank you. In 1993, Gordon brought Black Elk Speaks to the Taper.
We'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional caretakers of the land. We are on the traditional lands of the Gabrielino Tonga people.
We would also like to offer our thanks to the Los Angeles Drama Critics Circle for inviting us to celebrate their 50th anniversary of championing fine work on Los Angeles' stages. There are many outstanding theatrical organizations in our community, and your recognition of us is deeply moving.
The Gordon Davidson Award for Distinguished Contribution to Los Angeles Theatrical Community is particularly meaningful to Native voices, as it is our 25th anniversary. 25 years to change the course of theater in America, to include Native performers, stories, and theater artists has been a labor of love.
25 years of developing, producing, touring, and advocating for Native playwrights and Native theater artists. And 20 years ago, a very lucky 20 years ago, we were invited to the Autry Museum of the American West, where Native Voices has been the resident theater company for 2 decades. We were grateful then, and it is rewarding now to look back at all we have made together. I would like to invite Native Voices artists to stand with us now and be recognized. Director, Robin Hedwick, and our producing director, Elisa Blanford. And especially to our dear friend and colleague who has been with us for the last decade, John Lawrence Rivera.
So we've banded together to tell stories of Americans who have been traditionally unwelcomed in our own country. And I wonder, are there other folks in this room who feel like your stories were not part of the mainstream in our country? And were you able to use theater and the arts to tell the story you want to tell to larger audiences? And I wondered if you would like to stand with us, those who have been able to use theater to tell stories. They've made it.
With us, and we have stood on the shoulders of giants who came before us. Crucial to our journey are the current leaders in theater: Bill Rausch, Molly Smith, Christopher Ashley, Art Roach, Nika Cole, Jaime Castaneda, and Oscar Eustace, all who have made space for and invited Native theater projects and artists into their larger venues with access to their greater resources.
And just important are the past leaders of Native theater who have shown us the way. People like Hane Gigama, Spider Women, and Thompson Highway. But just as inspirational are the Los Angeles warriors of theater. I already mentioned John Lawrence Rivera, Luis Alfaro, Tim Dang, Jose Cruz Gonzalez, Rose Portilla, Dolores Chavez, Leilani Chang, Allison De La Cruz, Mark Valdez, Bernardo Solano, Oliver Mayer, Lori Woolery, and Jose Luis Valenzuela.
Yes.
A sweet coincidence, we didn't know Judy Davidson would be presenting. And I had a little anecdote. When Off the Rails premiered at Oregon Shakespeare Festival, Judy spoke with Bill Rausch afterward, who directed the show. And she was delighted, she said, with the spirit of the show. And it was just the kind of play Gordon would have loved. He would have brought it to Los Angeles in a minute. Gordon was a visionary for making space for others in cultural arenas in our country. A country with enormous heart. But too often, it's focused on the divisions that historically separate our communities. The work of Native Voices artists is being recognized around the country. And Gordon and other leaders in our field recognize the power of stories to reveal the experiences that bind us together. And I hope we all dig deeper to keep expanding the focus and research of our American stories. Thank you.
For those of you that don't know, Randy and I, Randy Reinholz is the producing artistic director, and I'm the producing executive director of Native Voices. We're also married, so we've been in this together for 25 years. We're still very happy. We don't have children, except for these. And I love them so very much. So thank you very much.
There are 2 nominees for solo performance. Sarah Jones, Sell by Date, Geffen Playhouse, Los Angeles LGBT Center. And Jefferson Mays, A Christmas Carol, Geffen Playhouse. And the recipient is Sarah Jones, Sell by Date.
Couldn't make it tonight, but I promised John Imperato, who also couldn't make it tonight, that if she did win, that I would come up and give his thanks for this acknowledgement from LADCC and on behalf of the Geffen Playhouse. It was a thrill to have Sarah on stage in 2 different theaters with her brilliant work, Sell by Date. So thank you very much, LADCC, for this award, and I can't wait to send it to her. Thank you.
All right, we are nearing the finish line. There are 12 performers in contention for lead honors. And since there are so many, I'm going to ask you to please hold your applause till the end. They are Mama Yeboafo, Schoolgirls, or the African Mean Girls Play, Center Theater Group, Kirk Douglas Theater. Graham Hamilton, The Hot House, Antaeus Theater Company. Tom Hanks, Henry IV, the Shakespeare Center of Los Angeles. Sylvia Kwan, Viet Gong, East-West Players. Casey Mahaffey, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, A Noise Within. Sandra McLean, A Raisin in the Sun, A Noise Within. Alex Nee, Cabaret, Celebration Theater. Joe No, Cambodian rock band, South Coast Repertory. Adam Peltier, Red Speedo, The Road Theater Company. Conrad Ricamora, Soft Power, Center Theater Group, Amundsen Theater. French Stewart, Finks, Rogue Machine Theater. And Paul Yen, Viet Gong, East-West Players. Our first recipient is Alex Nee.
Hi everyone, this has been a fun night. Thank you for having me. I'm shaking with excitement. I'm feeling really good. It feels good to be in LA and living here and feeling like this is my home now, so thank you for that. Lots and lots of love to my Celebration Theater family over there. You guys, you are astounding in what and how you create. It has inspired me so much since I first met you all. I feel so lucky to have found you. You're brave, inspiring, and so much fun. So as for this little show we did, where I didn't wear any clothes. Freshman year of high school, I fell in love with 2 things, Cabaret the musical and punk rock. And I've never worked in a more punk theater than the Celebration Theater. It is tiny, unassuming, packed with 47, is that the number? Sweaty bodies every night. There's 1 bathroom for all of us. There's 1 dressing room for all of us. The kick drum would threaten to come crashing down through the ceiling of the backstage crossover, but thankfully, Stephen, it didn't happen, and your set stayed beautiful and intact. And we were given the rare gift of, in that small punk space, staring each audience member right in the eye and demanding their truth in relation to this really hard story that I think we should all confront. So thank you to the insanely talented cast, the band, all of the people whose already, thankfully, their names have been said many, many times tonight, which is so exciting for me. The hardest working stage manager, Esty, I'm going to say your name again. Our designers, our creative team, Michael, Janet, Anthony, you guys are magic. And of course, thank you to our producers for letting me live out my punk rock fantasy in a musical theater. Thanks to my beautiful family, my dear friends, the love of my life, Amanda sitting over there, my wonderful agents at KMR, gotta thank them, why not? And of course, the LA Drama Critics Circle for this really, really fun honor. The world needs lots of good-hearted, inspiring punks now more than ever, so let's please be that. Thank you.
Our next recipient is Conrad Ricamora, Soft Power, Center Theater Group, Almaden Theater. Our next recipient is Mama Yabuafo, Schoolgirls, or the African Mean Girls Play, Center Theater Group, Kirk Douglas Theater. Is Casey Mahaffey,
I'm so glad I memorized all those lines. Thank you, LADCC. Thank you, everybody. This is absolutely surprising and fantastic. I didn't prepare anything to say because there was a voice in my head that was like, don't practice an acceptance speech when you're running against Tom Hanks. So, anyway. So listen, half of this belongs to Raphael Goldstein. The only man I would want to spend 2.5 hours in an existential tennis match with, and I love that man. So for his incredible work, and award-winning director Jeff Elliott, thank you so much for your trust and faith in me in memorizing all those lines and doing it. And listen, I just want to thank A Noise Within as a whole institution. Jeff and his co-artistic director and wife, Julia Rodriguez Elliott, are, yeah, that's definitely, they are really just in the pocket artistically right now, and it is an exciting place to be, and I am so grateful every single day to call A Noise Within my artistic home and to be able to share the stage with such incredible individuals, so thank you so very much for allowing me. And lastly, I just want to thank my fiance Francisco, who's sitting over there, the hot member of the turtleneck. And he's like the Guildenstern to my Rosencrantz in real life, only we're not trapped in an existential nightmare, it's just North Hollywood. So, thank you all so much, I really enjoyed
It
this.
is Tom Hanks, Henry IV.
My name is Jessica. I'm from the Shakespeare Center of Los Angeles. Obviously, I'm not Tom Hanks. And the Shakespeare Center was very honored to produce our generous supporter, Tom Hanks, in his stage debut, his LA stage debut, sorry. He shined in what he insisted was an ensemble performance, and that performance that shone a light on 34 participants in our veterans technical theater employment and training program, and really made a meaningful difference in all of their lives, and spreading the word about their talents. And thanks to the LA Drama Critics Circle for honoring him among a field of very talented actors, and we hope that we will work with you all soon.
Like that. I'm sure he'll find it very encouraging. And now, let me say those sweet, sweet words. Welcome our final presenters for the evening. Erin Conley of On Stage and Screen, and Terry Morgan of Stage Raw and Talkin' Broadway.
Before we get into the last words, we'd like to say some special thanks to Yvonne Bell, Wynn Blevins, Judy Davidson, Charles Dillingham, David Elzer, Heather Lynn Gonzalez, Jeannie Hackett, Wenzel Jones, Julio Martinez, Liz Morgan, Harvey Purr, Christopher Raymond, and Michael Ritchie. Thank you very much to Danny Feldman, Joe Witt, and Chris Cook for so graciously hosting our anniversary show at the Pasadena Playhouse. And most of all, I'd like to thank my hardworking fellow producers, Bob Guarini, for flying out here from Boston and always being a consummate trooper when the circle needs him, and Erin Conley, who has been an amazing, inspiring professional throughout the entire process. Thank you. We're going to have a dessert reception after the show until 11:45, and we hope you'll stay and celebrate with us. I'm sorry, I know it's gone long. If you parked across the street in the parking structure, I just wanted to let people know that it closes at midnight. So, okay, back to the awards. The McCulloughs. From 1979 until 2001, Tom McCullough reviewed theater for the LA Times, Drama Log, and Backstage West. For more than 20 of those years, he was an active member of the LADCC and occasionally served as its president. Those with long memories report that there was nothing that Tom appreciated more than a robust revival, the rediscovery or reimagination of an established piece of work to bring new insights and enjoyment to new audiences. We're betting that Tom would have enjoyed the 7 nominees for this year's McCullough Award for Outstanding Revival.
And the nominees are A Streetcar Named Desire, Boston Court, Pasadena, Cabaret, Celebration Theater, Cabaret, La Mirada Theater for the Performing Arts, Haiti, Vulgures, Theatricum Botanica, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, A Noise Within, The Hot House, Antaeus Theater Company, and The Little Foxes, Antaeus Theater Company. And we have 3 recipients in this category. Our first recipient is Celebration Theater's Cabaret.
Hi, my name is Michael Shepard, and I'm the Artistic Director of Celebration Theater. And when this evening started, I was 34. So thank you, I'm going to make this very quick. Thank you for everyone that was involved in this production. It was a labor of love. There was a lot of loss and pain that was involved in putting this production up, but it became a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Really? I'm not in the picture, bitches. Like I was saying, there's a lot of loss and pain. But thank you all, because this amazing production, which has won 6 out of 6 awards tonight, was directed by itself. I will say it, Michael Matthews, you deserve all the praise and all the credit for this production. Thank you. And Esty, you deserve everything because you spent 7 fucking days out of the week at the theater. And Jamie Rudowski, who cast this show, David Elzer, who is our publicist. Anybody else who come on, give me. And all the Michaels at the theater, thank you all so much for this. This is so amazing. And to my theater husband, Davo, who's my date tonight, thank you.
And our next recipient is Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Stoppard, thank you, LADCC. Thank you all for staying this long tonight. Good night.
Our final recipient in this category is the Little Foxes.
Who says Hellman can't be funny? Hi, thank you. On behalf of Antaeus Artistic Leadership that I was part of during this production, wonder how he got cast. I can happily pass this on to the current team, Bill Brocktrip, Kitty Swink, and Anna Rose O'Halloran. Very proud of it. You're probably tired of seeing me talk tonight, so I didn't break it. Thank you for this, LADCC. It's a great honor, and it's a great play, so if you don't know it, read it. It's troubling. Okay, last category. There are 7 nominees for production. A Picture of Dorian Gray, A Noise Within. Cambodian Rock Band, South Coast Repertory. Come Away, Center Theater Group, Amundsen Theater. Cry It Out, Echo Theater Company at Atwater Village Theater. Sell by Date, Pasadena Playhouse, Los Angeles LGBT Center. The Flying Lovers of the Text, produced by Nehi and Bristol Old Vic, Wallace Annenberg Center for Performing Arts, Viet Gone, East West Players. There are 4 recipients.
Our first recipient is Cambodian Rock Band.
That's from Shay, you are director. Okay, so he would like to thank Gordon Davidson, who believed in equity, diversity, and inclusion from the very beginning. He believed that all communities have a voice at the Mark Taper Forum and in all American theaters. Gordon would have loved this play, playwright Lauren Yee, and this tremendous cast of Asian American actors. Cambodian Rock Band is his legacy. Thank you.
Our Our next recipient is Sell by Date, Geffen Playhouse, and the Los Angeles LGBT Center.
Hi again. On behalf of the Geffen Playhouse and John Imparato and everyone at the LGBT Center, and to Sarah Jones and her brilliance, thank you so much. Have a great night.
Has Come From Away, Center Theater Group, Amundsen Theater. We are happy to accept this award on their behalf. And our final recipient, we cannot see anything from up here, by the way, so we have no idea what's happening. Anyway, our final recipient is Cry It Out Echo Theater Company.
Thank you so much, everybody, for this incredible honor. We're truly grateful to be recognized by the LADCC for this extraordinary play, written by the inimitable Molly Smith-Metzler. Thanks so much to Molly for a truly authentic and beautiful story. We felt strongly that this tale of female friendship and new motherhood needed to be seen and heard. It's an important part of our journey at the Echo to promote underrepresented voices in theater. We believe it's essential for everyone to have the experience of seeing themselves on stage. Cry It Out is a special play that gives a voice to women and a story seldom told. It underscores the painfully difficult decisions new moms must make about raising children in the light of limited parental leave options. Decisions informed by class and values that highlight gender inequity and expectations around bringing children into this world, as well as the power of female friendship to see us through these challenging times. Thank you so much to Lindsay Alba for her amazing work as the director of this play. As Molly mentioned, she was taking care of a very young baby herself while staging this work. Thanks to Clarissa, to Bo, our amazing associate producer, Chris Fields, the incredibly talented designers and cast, and the LA theater community. Thanks so much.
For some of you who have been waiting for that pop quiz, I promised, but it was just an empty threat. Don't panic. So you're off the hook. Anyway, congratulations to all of the award recipients. Please join us in the dessert reception. Thank you so much for coming. Good night, and remember, the parking garage closes, and good night. Good night. See you next year.